Put it on your side. Get mixed into it. I'd one. I'd one and 2 glasses of Prosecco. What is it? Is it here to stay? Is it here to stay? Is it here to stay? I can't be anywhere, anyone else, but here too. Another song. Elvis Costello, is it? Elvis Costello. Have you heard of Elvis Costello? Oh, come on. It's in the GCSE syllabus. Oliver Zoni is here to stay. They're trying to take words and then use them. I just don't know. Just want to go home now. This has already gone on too long. classic that was, wasn't it? Hannah's never heard of it. I've been singing along to her. Oliver's army is here to stay. Oliver's army is on its way. 1984. We born it. You born 2000. 1999.
She's a millennial.
What month? Lights back downstairs, yeah. Lights back downstairs. You did one of us does a pound, one of us does a light. Which would you like to do?
I'll do the stand. I'll do this.
Right, you take your music back, yeah?
Yeah, yeah. Yes. Yeah, I'll take my cards. I'm going to drop it on the floor as I go down. Spin on music. That's the way. We don't need this now.
I'm tying the bow here, Jim.
It's around there. You got the right one. Yeah.
We want to be ready to get out of here.
Oh, I see.
We should go after my room and I. Oh.
My bizarre one, just make it. That's it, quite magic. Overrun.
Hello? Yeah, I'd just like to say on behalf of everyone, Oliver's army is here to stay. Anywhere else. Hannah needs the light. So
Yes, I would recommend it. Nobody's actually.
I made the mistake of taking it out, and the look I got, I won't be doing it again.
So that's. Can you unplug a thing?
Unplug your thing. Oh, you want it unplugged now, do you?
Yeah, just put it. I know you're going to go early. Don't worry about it. It's mated.
The King. The King. Queen Camilla, the Prince and Princess of Wales, and other members of the royal family. The royal family.
Pray silence for the Right Honourable the Lord Mayor.
My late Lord Mayor, my Lord Chancellor, Prime Minister, Mr. Speaker, Your Excellencies, my Lord Bishop, my Lords, Aldermen, Sheriffs, Chief Commoner, honoured guests, good evening. On behalf of the Lady Mayoress and me, my two co-hosts tonight, Sheriffs Gregory Jones and David Chalk, as well as their consorts, Rosalie and Miranda, it is my great pleasure to welcome you all here to Guildhall for the Lord Mayor's Banquet. Though I am only 24 days into this remarkable role, or halfway, as Liz Truss might have put it. I am pleased to say that it's already a mayoralty of firsts. Last month, we were proud to host the first female Chancellor of the Exchequer, Rachel Reeves, at our annual Financial and Professional Services dinner at Mansion House. Prime Minister, this is, of course, your first Lord Mayor's Banquet in post. And me, well, as a lifelong Tottenham Hotspur fan, tonight is the first time I've actually looked forward to sitting next to an Arsenal supporter. Prime Minister, despite your terrible choice of football team, you, the Lord Chancellor and the Lord Bishop are especially welcome here this evening. Before going any further, I want to pay tribute to my immediate predecessor, the 695th Lord Mayor, Michael Mainelli. Michael and Elizabeth. Michael and Elizabeth, your energy and enthusiasm propelled your mayoral theme, Connect to Prosper, to infinity and beyond. You showcased this city's many different areas of expertise, from finance and tech to science and engineering. And through efforts like your ethical AI initiative, you demonstrated the Square Mile's unrivaled ability to bring people together as a global solutions hub for some of the world's most pressing challenges. My late Lord Mayor, we have all connected and indeed prospered through your leadership. For 522 years, this magnificent hall has played host to the Lord Mayor's Banquet, a reminder of our city's longevity and ability to adapt. Indeed, in these 5 centuries, the Square Mile has survived disease, fire, schism and attack, as well as profound economic shocks. Through it all, coming out stronger on the other side, thanks to a continual willingness to innovate, push boundaries and evolve. We remain the #1 global financial centre, with preeminent expertise in areas like insurance, legal services and foreign exchange. World-beating sectors such as asset management, banking, commodities trading and maritime services. Not to mention, we have a remarkable number of pret-a-manger in the city. Our deep and abundant talent pools, commitment to the rule of law, use of the English language, and globally central time zone mean we are the place to do business. And with funds under management, we will remain the world leader in sustainable finance, all the while making our economy more resilient for the future by banging the drum for innovative tech like digital verification and AI. But to keep our crown, one that supports the entire United Kingdom economy, we must reform our attitude to risk. That is why this year's mayoral theme, Growth Unleashed, is an unabashed call to be bolder, think smarter, take off the handbrake, reignite our attitude for positive risk, seizing our national edge in innovation and supporting the many communities that make London so utterly unique. Prime Minister, this government has been unequivocal that economic growth is its central mission. The Chancellor has started the process of regulatory reform, particularly in pensions. And more broadly here in the City, we strongly welcome your industrial strategy that recognises the critical importance of financial and professional services in achieving growth. But we must continually ask ourselves, are we going far enough? Are we going fast enough? Ladies and gentlemen, if we look each other in the eye, I believe the answer is no. Without risk, there is no growth. As the City Corporation's latest State of the Sector report shows, has experienced the largest drop in capital raised by financial services and tech companies of any of the world's major financial centres. In 2021, capital raised in the United Kingdom was £45 billion. In 2022, £27 billion. 2023, £20 billion. Many other examples of a reduction in the animal spirits of the city could be cited. But that trajectory is not set in stone. We have the levers to turn things around. But we must address the regulatory burden that is impacting on our international competitiveness and the risk-averse culture that is hindering our growth-making potential. Aldous Huxley, a great writer of dystopian and utopian novels, said that one has to dream, but dream in a pragmatic way. Fan. The idealist will dream of growth, but the pragmatist understands that our most effective machinery to drive growth is here, in the city, in the hands of some of the brightest and most committed people that you will find anywhere in the world. They come from all backgrounds. They are raring to go, yet they remain constrained. As pragmatists, there are enough to help the United Kingdom unshackle those constraints and realise our full potential. Take ISAs, for example. In the 10 years to April 2023, people put £436 billion into cash ISAs, but only £255 billion into stocks and shares ISAs, even though stocks and shares ISAs have performed better. When the forerunner to ISAs was introduced, the deal was simple. Tax treatment, investors put their money into UK equities. It's time to look at that model once again, not mandating anything, but offering better advice and incentives and saying that if you want the full tax break, you need to be investing in the United Kingdom's publicly quoted securities. That would bring us into line with our competitors. Redirecting this money from non-productive to productive assets would help scale British companies, improve returns for savers, and democratise the market by letting so many more people benefit. It would require a change in the rules, yes, but not a charge to the Exchequer. And it could be done in short order. Pensions, too, offer a huge opportunity. According to the think tank New Financial, a mere 8% of funds in United Kingdom's defined benefit pensions are invested into United Kingdom equities, far below those levels found in analogous economies. One of my aims this year, in tandem with our policy chairman, Chris Hayward, is to engage with key partners to continue the success of the Mansion House Compact, launched by my predecessor, Sir Nicholas Lyons, 18 months ago. Nicholas is here today. I'm already working with the signatories on a refresh of this compact. And in the meantime, I would like to see so much more investment into the AIM markets and Aquis markets, the home of fantastic British growth companies, from Audio Boom to Shepherd Neame. And with the pipeline of institutionally owned and founder-led companies wanting to go public over the next few years growing, we should look again at stamp duty imposed on trading in UK shares. It just cannot be logically correct that, as it stands, we do not pay tax on purchases of shares in international vehicle companies such as Tesla, but we are taxed for investing in a British brand like Aston Martin. Recalibrating this misalignment would provide a shot in the arm for homegrown companies looking to scale up. Companies that are currently too reliant on US funds, resulting in even more of them listing outside the United Kingdom. As the 696th Lord Mayor, through a packed programme of engagement and advocacy, I will seek to counter the myth that this is a largely ceremonial role, one somehow detached from the realities of the present day. I really would not be doing this role if it was. My promise is a simple one. This will be a high-energy mayoralty, one in which I see my role as being the cheerleader-in-chief for the United Kingdom's entire financial and professional services sector, whether that service is rendered in London, in Belfast, in Edinburgh or Cardiff. Someone willing to roll up their sleeves, bang on doors, and at times, where necessary, tell uncomfortable truths, taking the fight to our competitors, attracting inward investment and creating British jobs and expanding the horizons of British businesses. The outward-facing aspect of this role involves extolling our strengths to the world on around 100 days of foreign travel, with trips to Japan, to India, and just last week to the Gulf states, as well as to Indonesia, Vietnam, Australia, Europe, and the United States, and other locations. The inward-facing aspect involves constructively encouraging the team here, the home team, our businesses. To them, this cheerleader-in-chief's message is equally simple. Get out there and get on with it. Take the risks necessary for growth. Jump on planes to emerging markets. Be early adopters of the white heat of the new technologies that will give you the competitive advantage. There is no time to waste. Double down and invest in your businesses now. There is a saying that if you want to meet Americans, go to New York. If you want to meet the world, come to London. Transactions, investment, trade, growth, all of these are underpinned by people and by skills. And with London the home to more diaspora groups than any other city on the planet, we have here, right in front of us, an immense resource into which to tap. It is why 15 city belonging networks being created by this mayoralty will seek to celebrate each community's remarkable contribution to the financial and professional services sector, exhorting them to double down on their investment in the United Kingdom and to help expand the pool of talent that will keep the city growing for the next 25 years. Because whether it is amplifying these communities' voices, supporting the Lady Mayoress Florence in serving Army reservist to spearhead military reserve recruitment and retention, backing the Lord Mayor's appeal, the City Bridge Foundation and other fantastic charitable endeavours, or helping the government to drive growth and boost investment, this mayoralty's entire raison d'etre is to give people the tools and the self-belief to fire on all cylinders. We have so much to shout about, so much to look forward to. We have the buildings, they're already built. Look, are trained and champing at the bit. The capital is here, as are the opportunities. Yet there is a wall of regulation, overcaution and underconfidence, holding us back. The City of London Corporation will always be an impartial and honest broker between industry and government. The government provides the platform for growth, but it is here in the city where the growth will take root. Prime Minister, let us find that growth for you. Let us tell the world, if you want to insure against catastrophe, if you want to raise debt or equity for your company, do it in London. If you want to fall out with your partners, sue them in London. But most importantly, let us together use the city's inimitable know-how and tenacity and work together for a brighter, more prosperous future for the whole of the United Kingdom. Thank you very much. Now, can government ministers please remain seated? And everyone else, please stand and join me in a toast. The toast is His Majesty's Ministers. His Majesty's Ministers.
Praise silence for the Prime Minister.
My Lord Mayor, my late Lord Mayor, honoured guests, it is a real privilege to be with you this evening here in this wonderful setting. I have to say the double fanfare introduction you've just heard has given me a few ideas for this week's PMQs for some changes. My Lord Mayor, the Speaker says no. My Lord Mayor, it's also been a wonderful opportunity to catch up on common issues for our economy and for our country. I have to say, singing me your favourite anti-Arsenal chant as I was about to get up is not reflective of the progress that I thought that we were making here. Now, a few weeks ago, I stood in this very hall to urge international businesses to back Britain. And I'm pleased to say that they responded. They delivered a record-breaking £63 billion of new investment into our country. It shows that our work to put the economy on a sound footing is paying off. It shows yet again why our global relationships matter so much to this country. It also shows the vital role that you all play. So I'd like to start by saying to all of you, thank you for helping to make that happen for our country. My Lord Mayor, The tradition on this occasion is to speak on the subject of international affairs, which is good, because frankly, there is a lot to talk about. Like never before in our lifetimes, global problems have become local. Geopolitics is on our doorstep, shaping our lives in ways that nobody asked for. Conflicts overseas undermine our security, stir up violence and extremism on our streets, and drive up the cost of living. Meanwhile, climate change hits economic growth, leaves us exposed to catastrophic flooding, and both of these forces drive unsustainable levels of migration. It all manifests in a feeling amongst very many people that the system isn't working for them, that it's time to take back control of our lives, our borders, our livelihoods. And I hear that. People want action, and they want change. So we will not dismiss those concerns. We will answer them. And we will do so by acting at home, absolutely. But also by using our strength abroad. Because in this new era, we need to do things differently. There was a sense in the years of the Great Moderation that while there would always be conflicts, democratic values were in the ascendancy, and the disruptive nature of foreign policy, the real nature of foreign policy, could be contained, or at least managed. Well, from that twilight of naivety, we have emerged now into the harsh light of the day, determined to fight harder on the world stage for our national interests, and ready to dig deeper to defend them. I think of the Attlee government of 1945. Their ambition for the people of this country was unmatched. They were determined to win the peace, to create the National Health Service, build homes, national parks, a country fit for heroes. And in doing so, they knew they also needed to look out to the world. That's why they created NATO, the greatest alliance in history, tempered by the times that they had lived through. They were hard-headed and patriotic, and they saw that maintaining our strength abroad gave us the foundation to succeed at home. And that is as true today as it was then. So I want to be clear at the outset, against the backdrop of these dangerous times, the idea that we must choose between our allies, that somehow we're with either America or Europe, is plain wrong. I reject it utterly. Attlee did not choose between allies. Churchill did not choose. The national interest demands that we work with both. Our relationship with the United States has been the cornerstone of our security and our prosperity for over a century. And we will never turn away from that. We call it the special relationship for a reason. It's written not in some dry, dusty treaty, but in the ink of shared sacrifice. In the memorials, in villages, in towns, in cities, up and down the country. In Normandy, Flanders, and around the world. Right here in the Guildhall are etched the names of 112 killed in the First World War and 55 in the Second. And if you haven't had the chance, they're just near the entrance of the hall. Take the opportunity before you leave to just go and glance at those names there, inscribed on the memorial on the wall. They were fighting alongside the US, like we still do today, for the same causes. And so this is not about sentimentality. It's about hard-headed realism. Time and again, the best hope for the world and the surest way to serve our mutual national interest has come from our two nations working together. It still does. The fabric of our nations has been woven together so that our prosperity today, our leadership in tech, in AI and more, they're intertwined. And our security is also intertwined. At every level of our military, our intelligence, our industry, R&D. And that's why when President Trump graciously hosted me for dinner at Trump Tower, I told him that we will invest more deeply than ever in this transatlantic bond with our American friends in the years to come. And we will rebuild our ties with Europe too. Because, I'm sorry to say, the shocking legacy this government inherited in so many areas, from the nation's finances to the state of the NHS, extends beyond our shores. They turned their back on the world, took vital relationships for granted, neglected some allies and spurned others. Our reputation as a trusted, stable, dependable partner was replaced too often with an image of disarray, governed by short-term political concerns, varying from one extreme to the other, on tackling climate change, on relations with China, or even our commitment to fundamental values like the rule of law, demonising international courts, which this country helped to create, as foreign. None of this was aimed at seriously trying to solve the problems that we face. And added together, it actively harmed the national interest. In a more competitive and dangerous world, we can't take anything for granted. We need to work even harder at staying ahead. That's what the British people deserve. It's what they expect of this government. And so we're focused on the real problems, determined to rebuild and get back on the front foot, not reactive, but strategic. Not in the service of politics or ideology, but putting it back into the service of the British people. My Lord Mayor, there is still a huge amount of goodwill towards the UK around the world. People see our incredible strengths. They want to work with us. We've already made real progress towards renewing Britain's standing on the international stage. And we've been welcomed back with open arms. Partners are pleased to see us reconnecting, confident, outward-looking, responsible, committed to long-standing values like stability, international law, the UN Charter, and ready to lead. And I've seen how that is affecting investor confidence in our country as well, reflected in that international summit. And we have an opportunity now to capitalise on that progress, to take back control by fixing the international foundations that underpin everything that we do back here at home. That starts with our first mission, the number one test of this government. I spoke about the £63 billion of investment that was pledged in October. Numbers like that are almost too big to grasp, but they translate into real change. New jobs in our communities, new port infrastructure in London and Lincolnshire, clean power production in Teesside, in Bristol, Suffolk and more, developing new data centres across the United Kingdom, and advancing new innovations in pharmaceuticals, battery technology, and artificial intelligence. Investment. This is what I mean. Better lives, more opportunities, more vibrant high streets, more chances for British people to enjoy life. We are stronger when the economy is growing. We are stronger when we're cutting our dependence on fossil fuel prices by building our clean energy infrastructure. We are stronger when we lead in critical frontier technologies. And we're determined to do all of that. We've taken the difficult but vital steps in the budget, and now we're creating a climate for growth to make the UK the best place to invest, the best country to trade with, the best place to create and grow a business. And that's why we're looking outwards, deepening trade with our allies, restarting FTA talks with India, rebuilding ties in the Gulf, the Pacific and beyond, claiming our place as a leader in some of the great industries of the future, and unlocking growth, investment and pride in our economy once again. Second, my Lord Mayor, we must strengthen on security as the bedrock on which the economy sits and the ultimate guarantor of everything that we hold dear. There is no greater responsibility for this government. You know, there are moments which shape our worldview. As a young man, I remember watching the fall of the Berlin Wall. It had a profound impact on me. I felt how it was to witness a continent uniting behind freedom. I didn't think I'd ever see tanks crossing a European border again. I remember as well, much more recently, all too clearly, walking the streets of Bucha, just outside Kyiv, to bear witness to the true horror of Russia's invasion. I met people in those streets who had to pick up the bodies of their friends and their family members, civilians, killed, shot in the head, very often handcuffed, put into trolleys to be taken off for burial by their family members. A horrific reminder that Ukraine is on the front line of freedom. And let's be clear, the future of freedom in Europe is being decided today. We face a near and present danger with Russia as an erratic, increasingly desperate aggressor on our continent, marshalling all its resources, along with North Korean troops and Iranian missiles, aiming to kill and to conquer. There's no question. It's right that we support Ukraine. But we must be clear that it's also deeply in our own self-interest to do so. I'd encourage everyone here to stop and think for a moment what it would mean to us, to our continent, to the world, if Russia wins. What would it mean for our values, for democracy, commerce and liberty? It means they are weakened. I believe they could follow in Putin's example. And it means that our security, stability and prosperity would be damaged. The further Russian troops advance, the closer the threat becomes. The more land they control, the more they control grain prices and energy sources, and the more confident Putin becomes. So we must continue to back Ukraine and do what it takes to support their self-defence for as long as it takes, to put Ukraine in the strongest possible position for negotiations so that they can secure a just and lasting peace on their terms that guarantees their security, independence, and the right to choose their future. And we will continue to strengthen our own armed forces, the finest that there are. The budget provided almost £3 billion of additional resource for our defence, cementing our position as a leading NATO ally. And we will set out a clear path to increase spending from 2.3% of GDP today to 2.5%. And it is vital that all European nations step up to protect our shared future. We will set out in our strategic defence review how we're going to modernise our armed forces to make us more secure at home and stronger abroad. And we will maximise our investment by working with others, like our partnership with Italy and Japan to build the next generation of fighter planes. Because, my Lord Mayor, all of this rests on the strength of our bonds with others. And this is my third point. There is no growth without security, and no security without alliances. So to fix the foundations, we must meet this more dangerous age with an age of deeper alliances, even closer ties with the US, an unshakable commitment to NATO, and renewed relations with our neighbours in Europe. Relations which, on any objective assessment, are vital for our growth and security. So we've made progress already on the reset. EU summits at leader level, and a shared ambition to work more closely where necessary, including through a new security pact covering foreign affairs and defence. This is about looking forward, not looking backwards. There will be no return to freedom of movement, to the customs union, the single market. Instead, we will find practical, agile ways to cooperate, which serve the national interest. We've already struck a landmark defence agreement with Germany, the Trinity House Agreement, and we're working through the Lancaster House treaties. This is a model which we will replicate with others. We will also take forward the JEF with our Baltic and Nordic allies as the tip of the NATO spear, and our AUKUS alliance with the US and Australia to support stability in the Pacific. And we'll continue to work with our partners to meet global challenges, working closely with everyone from Italy to Iraq on migration, because we all know this collaboration works in bringing the criminal gangs to justice. We will work to maintain the peace in Lebanon, end the conflict in Gaza, bring the hostages home. And every time I speak to the families of hostages, I consider the agony and the torture that they go through every day. And we must, of course, also increase the flow of aid to those suffering so terribly in Gaza and other conflict zones like Sudan. And in Syria, we call again on the regime and all actors to work towards a political solution to stop the fighting. On climate change, we'll strengthen our leadership even further through new partnerships like the Global Clean Power Alliance that I launched at the G20 2 weeks ago. Because the consequence of these crises rebound on us at home. And in meeting these challenges, we must be prepared to talk to a wider range of countries. It is remarkable that until I met President Xi last month, there had been no face-to-face meeting between British and Chinese leaders for 6 years. We can't simply look the other way. We need to engage, to cooperate, to compete, and to challenge on growth, on security concerns, on climate, as well, of course, as addressing our differences in a full and frank way on issues like Hong Kong, human rights, and sanctions for our parliamentarians. I'm determined to do that and to keep talking, because I believe that we are stronger when we do so. My Lord Mayor, we have so much to be proud of in this country. Well, today, I want to recapture that sense of pride, to stand tall once again, to meet people's concerns, not with easy answers which don't serve anyone, but with leadership, to face up to the world as it is, shape it in our interests, and deliver more growth, more security, and stronger alliances. My Lord Mayor, I recall Philip Larkin's words about Her late Majesty, Queen Elizabeth, that she represented a constant good in a changing world. I recall it because I think it also reflects Britain and the nation's role today to be a constant and responsible actor in turbulent times, to be the soundest ally, and to be determined always in everything we do, every exchange that we have with other nations, every agreement that we enter into, to deliver for the British people and show beyond doubt that Britain is back. Thank you.